In tonight's 360 Perspective, we're talking older drivers and whether there's a time for them to hang up the keys. Colorado State Patrol recently reported older drivers were involved in 129 deadly crashes in 2018. The population of older drivers is growing fast. Aging baby boomers are the fastest growing demographic on American roadways. There are some additional rules for drivers 65 and older. They have to renew their licenses every 10 years like everyone else, but they have to physically go into the DMV every other renewal. Once there, a series of questions will determine if a driving test is necessary. Family members, doctors, or police can also request for a test, but there's no age where you have to retake it. Some people would like to see more being done to make sure seniors aren't posing a danger on the roads, like Chris Spanos, whose father was killed in an accident by an 82-year-old driver.
In my opinion, she shouldn't have been on the road shortly after she was driving again. I was pretty angry about that.
Chris has been advocating for more testing of older drivers ever since. He'd like them to have more driving tests, written tests, eye tests, and physically have to go to the DMV more often. From another perspective, one professor says losing the car keys can have a huge impact on a senior's quality of life. Dr. Carolyn DeGiuseppe of CU Public Health has been studying older drivers for years. She says as people age, their mobility, sight, even reaction times can decrease. But she says there's a certain pride that comes with driving, and older drivers are less likely to use cabs or ride shares.
Particularly among men, driving is somewhat associated with how you view yourself. Maintaining independence is the most important concern for older people in general.
And AAA says that people ages 65 and up are not the riskiest drivers. Their data shows there were 200,000 crashes nationwide in 2016 involving drivers over 65, and 3,500 of those were deadly. The idea of additional testing, though, is something AAA says many older drivers agree with.
80% of drivers over the age of 75 years think that drivers their exact age should have to go through a medical test before they can renew their driver's license.
And others say the drivers are safe. It's just a stereotype. Angela Cortez from AARP Colorado says it's all a matter of perception. She says older drivers usually decrease driving on their own, limiting themselves to avoid traffic, and agrees they aren't the most dangerous ones out on the roads.
They're nowhere near younger adults, especially younger males. That's the largest group of accidents that result in fatalities.
And AARP offers refresher courses for older drivers, which is helpful because cars and roads are constantly changing. They also have training for families on how to talk to their loved ones about not driving. Colorado laws do not determine when is the right time to hang up car keys. Everyone in this story agreed on two things. There will be a time to give up driving, but there's not one age to do it. What do you think? Sound off on our Facebook pages, KOAA5 and Elizabeth Watts News. And if you have an idea for a future 360 Perspective, email 360@koaa.com.